Contributing writer for The Atlantic. David French is with us. David, did you see that DeSantis ad? I mean, all things aside, whether you like DeSantis or not, have you ever heard a candidate have a Paul Harvey type person? I know he did a lot of it. They did it to own the libs and get the media talking about it. I would never throw Jesus under the bus and presume that make people think that like Jesus had created me so they could vote for me on Tuesday. That was breathtaking. Did you see that one?
I did see it, and you know what? On the one hand, it was just laughable.
Right.
On the other hand, it completely played into the way Republicans pitch themselves to Christian voters, which is, you're a people under siege, and you need me. You need a fighter. You need a protector. Or the church is going down, or Christianity in the United States is going to be in great distress. And this is what Trump has done. This is the Trumpist ethos, which is, I'm the fighter. I am taking the slings and arrows for you. And then, when they attack me, they're attacking you. Right. So it was completely in keeping with the way Republicans pitch themselves to Christian voters.
Well, and this guy is saying that Herschel Walker is the most like Jesus. Again, these are things I could not imagine. I've never seen anybody on the campaign trail ever say anything like this. I even, Well, I want to quote something. I want to quote something you said, then. The idea that times are so hard that they relieve Christians of basic obligations of kindness, honesty, or humility actually renders the church an oppressor. It can make us even more cruel than the alleged enemies we seek to defeat. And my God, it's so true. The stuff that people say, and then will say, well, I'm a Christian, because they feel like they're so under siege, when the truth of the matter is, we've talked about this too, David, religious freedom has never been as secure as it is today. After about 15 years of Supreme Court precedent from the left and the right protecting religious freedoms of evangelicals, of conservative Catholics, of people of faith.
Yeah, it's been more than 10 years since there's been even a semi-significant religious freedom loss at the Supreme Court of the United States. Most of the cases on religious freedom have been decided 9-0, 7-2. There's been a supermajority for religious freedom. Some of the most contentious cases have been decided 9-0, and yet constantly there is this sense of fear and panic. Vote for us or the church is in danger. Vote for us or the church is in danger. And that Ron DeSantis ad was C.S. Lewis compared to what's happening in things like the Reawaken America conference. I don't know if you've seen this, the traveling Michael Flynn Roadshow, which is packing churches, thousands and thousands of people every week who are coming to hear some of the wildest conspiracy theories. Q rhetoric, they're coming to hear stolen election rhetoric, and they're, of course, being pitched, pillow products and gold and things like that in the breaks. It's just remarkably dangerous when you consider the level of rhetoric here and the level of frenzy that is being stoked and stirred in Christian communities in the United States. Now, again, as we've discussed, it's not most Christians. But there is a active, angry fringe that is being stoked and stirred every day.
It's a 2,000-year break. A 2,000-year break from the teaching of Jesus. You read Tom Holland's Dominion, and you see what value sets, what set of morality that Jesus introduced into the world, whether you're an atheist or whether you're a Christian or whatever, like Western civilization defined by these sets of values, which these people are actually undermining every day with their hatred. It's breathtaking. And you're right. This is not all churches. It may be a smaller subset, but it is a frightening subset, and it is harming the larger church. I want to, if it's okay, I would love for you to tell the story, the remarkable story that made you weep where you were talking about the young girl in Little Rock, and I just the verse, I lift my eyes toward the mountains, where will my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Talk about how that fits in with what you're saying.
Yeah, so I was at an event in New York a couple of weeks ago called The Moth. It's a storytelling event, and the last presenter was a woman named Dr. Sybil Jordan Hampton, who was the only black student in the 10th grade at Little Rock Central High School after the Little Rock 9 integrated. They shut down the school rather than integrate, then reopened it, and then she was the only black 10th grader. And she related the story of her unbelievable persecution, how she had to walk through armed guards to get into school, National Guardsmen, how students wouldn't look at her, how if they spoke to her, they hissed out racial slurs at her. And she talked about her nightmare experience at that school. And one of the things that she said is the only time she spoke was during some of the mandatory Bible readings that they had at the school. And she would read aloud Psalm 121, which you just quoted. And what was incredibly powerful about that was her deep faith that gave her the courage to face what she faced. And the other thing that stood out to me is, wait a minute, I thought if we had mandatory Bible reading in schools, schools were supposed to be better places than viciously racist in the way that they were. And that there was this incredible vicious racism in the school, even as it was the kind of reality that a lot of right-wing politicians want right now, where there's the mandatory Bible reading, the mandatory prayer. Look, faith is a matter of the heart. It's not a matter of what the government is going to tell you to do or instruct you to do. And it's high time a lot of my friends on the right remembered that it is something that is flowing out of the heart. It is not something the government is going to come in and impose to reform or reshape our nation. And it's high time we remember that. And it's high time that people be confident in their religious freedom and don't live under an atmosphere of fear and panic. I mean, Scripture says God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. At a lot of these rallies, you're not seeing a lot of evidence of sound mind.
Well, I'm going to say also, and I'm sure this will offend some Christian nationalists, let me just tell you the truth. If you read the New Testament, if you read the red letters, you go away with one unmistakable understanding about Jesus and his relationship to politics. He doesn't care about your political party. Jesus cares about your soul. That's what it's all about.